Hello. Welcome to a change in scenery. It was cold outside and the fire's lit in here, and I have a very understanding wife. She didn't kill me for this. So we're going to continue with our taking a party of cylinder head. And you haven't missed a lot, but you missed a couple of bits. So the first ones, we got all the cams out and everything. I'm hoping. I burnt myself, if you're wondering. Nothing to do with cars. That's painful. Ow! Oh, come on, manly man. Manly man. This is going to be difficult. So, we need to take the valves out, and we need to take our finger followers out, so we need to get the finger follower shafts out. So, first things first. I bought a slide hammer, which you probably don't need. So the first thing is to take out. You have two grub screws here and here. They're going to be Loctited in, so heat this up with a blowtorch and they'll come out fine. Otherwise they will strip because they're only 3mm. So these are now loose. So we get an M10 bolt that threads actually into the shaft as so, and then we can draw it out. Ah, pain. So much pain. The only thing we want to make sure we do is get everything in order. So I think there should be a thrust washer. There we go, that's coming. I might actually need either more spacers or a way of pulling that. But that's the idea. So that will slowly drag the shaft this way. Because you can't pull it. And we want to keep everything in order. So there should be basically thrust washer, spring, finger follower. If I show you. So here we are. We should have thrust washer, spring, finger follower, thrust washer. Repeated, 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 repeated. Now I don't know what the conventional wisdom is for head builders here. There's a dog in the background, ignore her, she can't help. I don't know whether they always, I guess they replace the finger followers. I mean, they look alright, but they're a failure point. So is there a more modern? I don't know. Someone will though. And that's why we have cleverer people than me. But we're going to keep them all in order anyway. This one's a bit easier to cut out. Plus, that feels like you might just pull out, but can I get out with that? No. We'll work it out. We are reusing them. Things wear together in an engine, so we need to keep them in the same order that they came out in. Okay. A socket will do it, won't it? Now the follower shafts don't usually require this much force from what I've read, but the problem was where the grub screw had gone in at one end, it actually sort of burred up the very end of it. So once I was able to pull it along far enough, take the followers, springs and everything off that end, I could just file that off, and then, as you'll soon see, it all came out very nicely. Then we're going to keep everything in order. So we're just going to put, this would be inlet starting from 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you count? I can't count. 12. There's 12. So this is going to be inlet 12. With the front being Uno, and back being 12. And then we'll put the valve spring, collet, and the valve in there as well. And that'll be our little set. So now we're going to rinse and repeat that until we end up with just rubbish all over the table, really. And my wife's going to be home soon. I wonder what she'll say. No, she's fine with it. She's very patient, obviously. There's a small burr left from the grub screw on here. So all we're going to do is just take that burr off. What can't you do with a Leatherman? There we go. There we are. Easy as that. And if we can see on here, we have basically no wear on that. And we've got there's a shinier patch on the follower that so that's the side that obviously runs on the cam. That's the side that runs on the valve shim. And we've got no that was just a drop test as normal, and there's no appreciable wear. So I'll crack on. So we've got a massive valve spring compressor because we have to get all the way around the head. We've got that face will go onto the valve and that one goes onto the spring. And then we're going to compress the spring to try and get a valve out. So we line that one up. And then we line this one up. We can rest it on the head and then there we go. And then we should just be able to use my wife's pink screwdriver. You have to use a pink screwdriver. And there we go, that's one collet. That's not the other collet. Come on! There we go. And they're just held in mechanically like that. So then we release the pressure. And there we go. So there's our valve spring cap. And what we're looking for here is play between the valve guide and the valve. So that one feels okay. And there's our valve. Look, any damage on the sealing face there, which is dirty, that looks fine. And of course the face that we could see before. So then we file those under the same one to match the finger follower and carry on. And that, after that, is the head basically stripped. There's maybe one on cylinder 1 that has slightly more play than the rest in the guide, but the two exhausts I've done so far are a lot worse. Can you see that? Well, you can probably hear it as much as see it. I know there'll be an amount of play and the exhausts get hot, but that seems like way too much. So fingers crossed, that might be our smoking gun. I'm going to get the rest of these out and then we're nearly there. And that's I had mostly stripped, apart from a few oddities, but they'll be fine. So the next step is to get it off to someone that has any idea what they're doing, so not me, and get it looked at and sorted. I think, going through that, the exhaust valve guides are probably knackered, and that is hopefully the truth, and that is therefore our noise. So, fingers crossed. I think we'll probably try powers first, and then there's also a couple of engineering places in Milton Keynes that are very good. So please do all the things. Sophie,
Well,
call to actions.
stuff and things.
Like
Comment.
and subscribe. Thank you.